Standing foursquare, with his head slightly turned to the left and mouth open, this iron-cast horse captures the attention of visitors through its remarkable stature. At a height of 580 millimeters and a length of 560 millimeters, the crest of his neck arches upward, lifting his broad shoulders and strong hindquarters, creating an aesthetically pleasing stance and a well-balanced position. His russet-colored coat, the effect of the material used in the casting, indicates exposure of wear and age. This color is juxtaposed with its smooth finish and mannered dappled patterns over the rump, shoulders, neck, and forehead, indicating either a stylized artistic addition of individualized articulation. Lacking both a mane and tail, the horse is left bare, still and quiet in manner, and solid in texture. His ears are pricked forward with a kind of expression, while his nose is tucked neatly to his chest. This iron-cast horse is roughly dated to the Tang Dynasty of southeast China, around the 10th century. Weighing almost 48 kilograms, this object of iron craftsmanship is a strong example of a cultural dialogue of horses within Chinese art, which later developed into a deeply symbolic and religious purpose through its use as a funerary object. But with many objects acquired by the museum, a unique process of determining authenticity is required, while unfortunately this object's genuineness is still debatable. Within China's artistic repertoire, the horse has been abundantly present. Its rich symbolic motif stems from early Chinese texts. Historically, horses in China have been regarded as strong military necessities. During the early Han Dynasty through to the late Tang, China was constantly menaced by the superior horse count and riding skills of the barbarians from the north and Central Asia. It wasn't until Emperor Xiang Ti's advances at the turn of the Han Dynasty did China begin to gather strength against their invaders. This shift in protection by the use of the horse influenced works such as the Flying Horse of Gansu, a bronze Han Dynasty sculpture, and the beautiful stories of the Dragon Steed in Night Shining White, Tang Dynasty hand scroll. Throughout many different mediums and materials, horses have been articulated in a unique and stunning way, each with a mythical imagination and a grounded naturalism. Horses became symbols not only of military and political clout, but also were believed to be the bearer of good things. According to the Book of Changes, the horse represents the strongest trigram of the elements, grounding its opposite, the dragon. While dragons occupied the realm of heaven, the horse ruled the earth, keeping it under control through its natural and useful nature. The Chinese believed that the two were related, a sort of yin and yang. This unique combination translated not only through their art, but throughout the religious funerary practices. By the 4th century BC, images of horses as symbols of power, luck, and status began to emerge within royal tombs. Chinese philosophy believed in a soul-dualistic tradition, meaning that every human has two souls, a yang, or han, which leaves the body and returns to heaven, and a yin, or po, which remains with the deceased form. The objects placed within the tomb were referred to as mink, and provided comfort to the po. These Chinese burial goods were also displayed as part of an intermittent rituals proclaimed to all those attending the ceremony that this was a person of great standing. They indicated that the wealth not only of the deceased, but also of his or her family. While most of these objects are found through mass excavations, the tombs are not always discovered intact, but have withstood thousands of years of looting by locals. Thus, present-day historians are left to find and acquire these funerary objects through other means, constantly calling into question authenticity for these types of objects. Much like this hollow cast tomb figure, there is no specific origin, compelling scholars to constantly question its genuineness. Unlike its Sansai glazed ceramic equivalents, the material iron makes this object intriguing to historians. What is incredibly fascinating about this object is that it is so uncommon that we are almost compelled to see it as a forgery. After all, as Charles Kelly puts it, faking antiquities has been hallowed in China by the sanction of ages, so we should not point the finger of scorn, but merely murmur, caveat emptor. Yet even a forged iron horse appears absurd, while in reality the lack of similar objects, such as other iron horses, should make historians intrigued. This piece creates the opposite effect. The use of iron for a tomb figure, however incredibly rare, rusts easy, is laborious to use, lacks the beauty of the ceramic coloring Tang traditions, yet its casting and simply its inclusion would have greatly increased the cost of the object. The material itself indicates that the family for whom it was made was determined to emphasize the wealth and prestige of their departed relative, and as a corollary, that of the whole family. In 1986, correspondence along with the analysis of the Iron Horse was exchanged between Oxford University History of Art Museum and Durham's Oriental Museum. Mrs. Doreen Stoneman determined that it was a modern casting and fired within the last century. Yet as rare as this iron horse is, a second was discovered in similar conditions. Item number 1578 of TK Asian Antiquities confirms the unlikely nature of authenticity between the two, except after extensive radiocarbon and metallographic analysis upon the second horse, with the kind of equipment lacking in Durham, confirms the genuine nature of the Tang Iron Horse, number 1578. Thus, the greater probability that Durham's own cast iron horse is authentic as well, but just lacks further scientific analysis.